This is a Digipak deconstruction for Oracular Spectacular by MGMT. MGMT are an alternative psychedelic rock band from America, and Oracular Spectacular was their first major label studio album, released in 2008 by Columbia Records. On the front cover of the Digipak is a photograph of two young men dressed in unusual bright clothing. The man on the left is Ben Goldwasser, who is a vocalist and keyboardist for MGMT. He appears to be dressed in a tribal costume involving feathers and exotic fabrics which don't necessarily match. The headscarf also gives the costume an Aboriginal feel, along with a tribal face paint. Andrew Van Wingarden, who is the lead vocalist, guitarist and songwriter from the band, is on the right and is wearing a patterned Aztec scarf paired with neon bright orange shorts with a wiggly pattern on them, but he's not wearing a top, which again shows tribal connections. It could also connote the band's rebellious nature, as the unorthodox costume suggests that they don't like to follow the crowd and they're their own individual people with a unique image. This scruffy clothing that they're wearing, along with their hair which is messy and undone, gives the impression that they're quite natural and connected with nature. The calm blue background, which I think is the beach, also clarifies this, as it's a natural and relaxing setting which contrasts the bright bold colours in the foreground. The moon is located exactly in the centre of the image, drawing attention to the band name, almost like a spotlight, which is down the centre of the cover. The typography used for the band name is a large font with a white outline, which makes it a focal point of the Digipak, as it is the only white colour on the whole image apart from the moon. The font is very square and digital looking, which relates to the indie electronica sound of the whole album. The title of the album, Oracular Spectacular, doesn't seem to be actually printed on the cover of the album, but there is a neon orange sticker which states the best-selling singles on the album, Time to Pretend and Electric Feel, as people will probably already be familiar with these songs when buying the album, but may not know the others on the song list as they weren't as popular. The sticker also advertises the bonus content in the Digipak. On the other side of the cover is a parental guidance sticker to warn listeners of the explicit content. Although this is required, it could also be used here as a selling point, as MGMT's target audience are young adults and the band are quite well known for being rebellious and unruly, so this could be attractive to the buyer. If I open the Digipak, there is a black and white photograph going across the whole of the inside cover. The black and white colour scheme is very typical of the indie genre, as indie artists often like to portray the vintage and retro feel to contrast new modern music. The colours here are contrasting with the bright colours on the front cover, and the two band members are shown here burning money with a lighter, which is a connotation of their own views of what is valuable. Here they're implying that money is not important to them, suggesting that they care more about their music and possibly making a statement about the priorities people have in normal society, which the band are clearly trying to separate themselves from. The fact that they're topless and ungroomed also gives the impression that they don't care about image and looking good to other people, although saying that the scruffiness and messy look is the image of the band are using to attract the attention of their audience and to sell more records, which makes the whole photograph quite ironic. We can also see that Andrew is exposing his tattoo and wearing a crucifix necklace and a beanie hat, which conform to the current youth culture fashion, again attracting the attention of their target audience. This portrayal of their youth relates to their song Time to Pretend, which is about how they're growing up and moving away from their fantasy dream lifestyle of being in a band. The lyrics say that they want to live fast and die young, suggesting that youth is the best part of life and they don't really want to part from it. The two men also seem to be covered in blood, which connotes their carefree nature and portrays them in quite a controversial light. Ben also seems to be holding a spear, which suggests maybe their desire for death or murder and could be an explanation for the blood. On the right hand side of the inside cover is the credits for the album and thank yous, listing all the people who've been involved in the making of it. On the back cover is a photograph of a group of people in the sea. This is in keeping with the image on the front cover and relates back to the natural feel of the band. People in the image are again in quite tribal-like costumes and are all facing outwards towards the horizon. This gives the impression of freedom, and the calming purple and blue colours of the sea suggest that it's a better place to be, again opposing to normal society. There is a flame here in the water, which could be a connotation of what they're trying to get away from and is a contrast to the natural calm image. The song list on the album is located across the top of the back cover in a small and understated font, so as not to take away from the image, although it's still clearly visible. At the bottom of the back cover it states the bonus content. The spine of the Digipak here includes the name of the band and the album, and also the record company, which is there. And this is bright pink, so it will stand out on the shelf with other CDs and be easily recognisable. The actual CD is made to look quite vintage, as the font and layout suggest that it could be on an old vinyl record. Again, this retro feel is very typical of the indie genre. The fluorescent orange is in keeping with the bright clothing and colours on the front cover of the album. The fold-out booklet is again very bright and colourful. On the back there is a bright psychedelic pattern, which could be a connotation of drugs or hallucinations, which are referenced in several of the songs, such as Time to Pretend and Electric Feel. On the other side of the page are the lyrics to all the songs on the album, although the typography used appears to be handwritten and is not easy to read. So the handwritten element makes the album feel less commercial and more personal. However, it's not very practical if somebody wanted to read the lyrics on it.